She's a character that stalks you, ensnares you, and manipulates you into making you pay for her dinner. She's a walking red flag of red flags, but will confuse you with her green hair. She's the character that will happily expose those that like getting dominated. She's the character where one little close-up shot of her pits expose what little degeneracy can come from an otherwise introspective and heartwarming story. Realistically, she's a character that will make you question what morality really means. What ethical boundaries are socially acceptable, because she's out here splitting fools in half, and her reaction, with a slight grin on her face, is basically
oopsies.
There's nothing like the blood-flowing excitement of waking up the Yubel, potentially giving you a second circumcision. Run, Megane! Run!
Miguel!
Ah yes, Yubel, where death isn't feared, but accepted as reality, without seemingly a care in the world, where another life ends in violence by her hands, but with the excuse of self-defense. Or by testing your ability by hitting this NPC first-class mage. I'm sure we are all weirbo here. Maybe, just maybe, he should have just yeeted her. It's just like Frieren Beyond Journey's End to feature another important side character that is probably just another orphan kid, like everyone else in the story that has lost their parents and or became orphans in some way or another, where later on in the story we even learn from Ceri's flashbacks of those that requested spells from her after passing their first class mage exam, that Yubel might have actually wanted to find her dead parents' remains. As we continue further into the video, we will be talking about Yubel's abilities, what it means for her character, and what her end game may be with trying to get close to Megane. Will Yubel eventually become a villain, or will her empathy actually lead her to redemption as she gets closer and closer to Megane? These are contradicting attributes for Yubel, which makes her character all the more fascinating to see where she actually ends up. Like Ceri said, Megane better learn to put the reins on your girl before she might just... The one ability that stops this crazy lady from going full-blown psycho is the reward of her ability to essentially steal magical abilities without even knowing exactly how it works. That power comes from empathizing. It's almost like an oxymoron when it comes to Yubel, that her literal powers balance her humanity, because it is in the humanity of empathizing that allows her to grow, meaning her powers to copy others' magical abilities are derived from basically being a decent human being. It's the one binding mental barrier that doesn't allow her to become a full-blown menace to society. It's almost like she's an analogy for the balancing of our darker desires. We are talking about the same girl that accidentally yeets dudes in two and murders bandits in self-defense, which was kind of understandable, but maybe avoidable, like what Kraft did. This leads us to speculate over the meaning of her powers. Is this something that manifested over some kind of trauma? In many shonens, emotional anger and willpower typically propels heroes into enhanced and newfound abilities. In this case of Yubel, this is in a sense her Zenkai boost, connecting with people, understanding their struggles, and being sensitive towards their experiences. That is the empathy that rewards her with skills that allow her to yeet people in self-defense and in tests that require you to accidentally yeet. There's a lot of irony in her powers, as apparently her empathy is like her weapon. Much of Yubel's background is unknown. During the flashbacks with Sense, we got to see a glimpse of her upbringing. She seemed fairly normal, well, kind of, until sharp objects were introduced. Besides that, in the latest arc of Frieren, in chapter 140, Ceri reveals what kind of spells each first-class mage asks for after passing the exams. They are usually in the two extremes of something trivial like Fern's laundry spell, and one more meaningful like when Land asks for a spell to find his dead parents' remains. It is here that we find out that Yubel, in literally the next panel, wanted to do the same thing with the same spell. While there are foundational pieces between their relationship to build towards a legitimate romance, there is actually a lot of tension in a surprisingly humanistic way. It's about two people processing loss, trauma, and whatever the hell Yubel thinks flirting is. Let's take a step back and look at Yubel's motivations for chasing after land. We are talking about a man willing to run away from his home forever to get away from this monstrous green-haired maniac that always calls him Megane or Four Eyes. Does she want him for his blonde-headed geeky but handsome boyish looks, or does she want him so she can use him? At every attempt for Yubel to try to get to know Megane, bro has his true feelings on lock. It's the perfect parallel in romances, like playing hard to get, trying to get the other person to open up to you. Right now, Megane is the perfect barrier for Yubel to try to get through. It's like a different kind of challenge when it comes to land, whether it's just to use him for his powers or for legitimate romantic advances. Run away again, land! Run away! We can't see our boy just get hurt physically, but mentally as well. After Yubel's introduction to the story with stealing Werebol's Sorganel ability to constrict a person while you're in range and looking at the person, this informed us of a surface level motivation behind wanting to empathize with poor Megane. Land's ability is incredibly useful to duplicate himself multiple times, as he basically passed the entire exam with duplicates.
合格だ。
That is a terrorizing imagination of multiple Yubels lurking in the streets. From a practical use standpoint and from a potential villainous arc unfolding, it's simple to see why Yubel simply wants to empathize with Land. However, this is clearly what makes her dynamic with Land one of the most intriguing dynamics in the story. As a subplot, getting to know Land on an emotionally deeper level might be the one way to offset some of the darker parts of her personality. It's this romantic and empathetic tension that becomes almost like a moral checks and balances. It all started within the dungeon during the second exam. While they were facing each other's clones, surprisingly, but maybe not as surprising, is Yubel's social awareness. She's able to easily pick up on Megane's personality and his true intentions, and the fact that he is hiding how he truly feels. I mean, it does go along with his ability to copy himself, as that naturally makes you hide. He wants to play like he doesn't care if she dies, but as we can see during this fight of exposed pits that created many Degen fans, Megane has a heart of gold under that cold exterior and saved our girl Yubel. Yubel continues to chase Megane down, even ensnaring your boy. At this point, we are still likely assuming she wants to just use him. But that is where it just gets more and more compelling, because empathizing isn't usually included with screwing people over you care about. With them having dinner together, this is likely where the Yubel and Land ship gets started. It is during the latest arc in Frieren, at the start of the Foundation Festival arc in chapter 126. This character dynamic gets rekindled as Sari sends Yubel to go recruit Megane to help retrieve intel and bodyguard her during the festival ball at the Imperial capital, since the Shadow Warriors want to assassinate our dear feet goddess. There is a lot implied here with Sari, specifically telling Yubel to recruit Land for the mission because she might be the only one to convince him to take on this dangerous mission. But she also warns Yubel that he can willingly deny this mission. And of course Yubel, that ain't her style. She was gonna bring him whether he likes it or not. The why part of Yubel being the only one to bring Land along and why he would go along with the mission is still up for interpretation. It goes along with what we know about their dynamics between each other. Is this relationship building out a romance, or is it because Yubel will be the one person that allows Land to open up to her, thus getting her to steal his ability or his heart? As Land and Yubel eventually team up for preventing this Sari assassination mission, it is during their partnership on their mission that they continue to build upon their bond with this and just naturally be able to rely on each other as teammates. Nothing builds a bond like a life or death situation. There isn't necessarily anything technically romantically brewing here, but at the very least, it builds camaraderie. It's kind of like the Matode and Ganao team up, where they naturally complement each other as one is more nurturing and loving, while the other is more cold-hearted, cold-blooded, and almost doesn't give up. Or does he actually? Yubel and Lan naturally complement each other. This is where we start to learn more about both Lan and Yubel's past, and how that can potentially be the source of how Yubel and Lan can empathize with each other. As fast as Yubel was able to steal Weirbo's ability, this Lan guy is a different kind of challenge. Lan seems to have a similar tragic past to Yubel's, as both lost their family members. As Sari explains to Sense before the festival ball about who asked for what free spell after they passed the exam. Megane wanted a spell to locate his family's remains, while it hints right after that Yubel wanted the same, but it switched it to finding her sister instead. This added the depth to their characters that continues to further fuel speculation of where the empathy will come from, and if a real romance can be brewing here, as it becomes clear how Yubel will get Megane to open up to steal his powers, but also possibly falling in love with him, which is the most warm and loving outcome we can ask for Yubel's character, but also the most terrifying one for Lan if he does end up falling for her. Yubel looks to have a natural infatuation with Megane. It's very easy for her to act like a lady in her own scarily Yubel way, to accept banter with him, being comfortable enough to want him to flirt back with her. Is this clearly a woman's manipulation tactic, or is it real? You be the judge. There are plenty of other guys Yubel could manipulate to steal their powers, but nah, she wants the one nerd with clone magic and hidden emotional baggage just like her. When it comes to Megane, that boy got something special for Yubel's taste. Besides Weirbo, we don't know anyone else she used this ability against. The only other real ability she uses is her Resilden ability to slash just about anything. This contradiction of Yubel's ability to empathize to offset potentially devious acts of villainy is further fueled by Sari's mentioning of telling Megane to keep Yubel's reins. His blunt, cold-hearted approach is just what the doctor prescribed to prevent every D-Gen fanboy's green-haired armpit heroine from going on some kind of wild, violent rampage. I mean, she does want to go on a wild, violent rampage if the mission allows her to. The word reins is important from Sari here because that is literally what we were all thinking anyways when it comes to Yubel. It can be seen as romantic reins or just putting her in check from yeeting fools. Sadly for our boy Megane, he will have to be the one to put this scary woman in line. This is a nice little character subplot that makes one of the biggest mysteriously growing relationships to the forefront, while Sari is literally in the front of this arc. It is one that can indeed find its own climactic point in one of the most crucial plots in Frieren, as Sari is attempted at being yeeted by assassins. In the end, empathy may be the only thing keeping her from being a Frieren final boss of an arc. But empathy might be what makes her the most scariest, cause a man's worst nightmare is a woman's feelings. So, will Yubel fall in love? Will she snap and start a clone army of herself to terrorize all the clone Meganes out there? Or will Lan finally put the reins on this armpit slasher, magic copying menace? Frieren's most terrifying character might ironically actually have a human beating heart. Let me know what you guys think about Yubel and Frieren. So yeah guys, hit the like button if you like armpits, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.